Hello guys and welcome back. In this video we're going to be talking about how celebrities and sports stars are on a complete different timeline to everybody else. You know, they're going to peak early, you don't. So the standard trajectory, apart from male actors who peak a lot later in life for some unknown reason, I guess it's because there's such a skill level to it that isn't necessarily physical, that they're going to peak later and you know, their careers are going to go budding up through the stars. They're going to earn 10 times more than they did when they were younger. But as a normal person, you know, your life is only going to get better over time if you invest and you put the work in. But so many people get discouraged at, let's say, like a Justin Bieber at 21 years old. He had earned something like 400 million, and people was doing those memes, which is like, you know, Justin Bieber has this, he has that, he's accomplished this, he's done this, he has 400 million in his bank account, all at the age of 21. What were you doing at 21? You know, you see these memes all the time, and I absolutely hate them. I think it's so harsh to judge people based on a talent that they didn't have. So in the music industry, if you've got a good voice and you're a good looking person, you're in. You know, you could, I get that there's some level of grind to it, but if you have the best voice, you know, there's nobody trying to stop you. There's competition because there's other singers, but if you've got the best voice, you've got the best voice. You just have to sing and show up, right? I might be wrong in saying that. They might be ignorant, but it just seems quite easy to do. And it's the type of industry too, where the younger you are, the kind of better it is, you know. Or if you're in your 20s, like if you're 21, like Justin Bieber was at the time, you know, or I know he is now, but he was like 21 at the time when I remember seeing this. Most of the girls that are buying the records, because it's mostly women that buy records, whatever it might be, the downloads, etc., they're going to be around about that age. They're going to be, let's say, 18 and below. So that's why it works around about that age. Now, we look at somebody like a Justin Timberlake. He's still famous. He's still making money. You know, he's probably still doing concerts in LA with women that grew up with his music that are now 38 years old and 2 kids. But he's never going to be as big as he used to be. Now, you know, no matter what he does, he's never going to be as big. And he might have the odd hit that goes through the roof, but he's never going to be as big as he used to be. And it happens all the time. I saw that Paul McCartney couldn't get into one of Tiger's shows. You know, and it's like, this is one of the most famous guys that ever lived, and women used to faint when they saw him. Now it would just be like, who's this old guy? Which is a real shame. And granted, he's got all that money still, and he's probably making a shit ton off the royalties, but you know, it's just not the same as it ever was. And it happens a lot in sports. So some kid comes out of university, college, whatever, through the NFL draft system, gets signed for an NFL team. He's 21 years old, you know, massive superstar straight away. Everybody thinks he's like the hottest prospect. Ends up getting a contract for like 4 million out of the gate, 5 million, buys his mum a house, you know, starts dating the hottest women. And everyone's like, shit, you know, I'm 21. My life's not like that. I'm behind this guy. This guy's killing it. I feel bad about myself. I'm depressed. And this is what happens. Fast forward 20 years, your life's done that and got substantially better. You might be running a business now and making 5 million a year, you know, same as what that guy was making 20 years ago. That guy is now broke and he's working in a supermarket. You know, it happens way more often than you think, or even not even at that level. He's just a commentator for a sports channel or a radio channel, and he's earning a modest wage, you know, something like 50, 60,000 a year. And you could potentially go up and earn millions. So it's weird to compare yourself with athletes or celebrities, you know, like Kylie Jenner is a billionaire at 21. What are you doing with your life? Or what were you doing at 21? It's like, number one, I didn't have a massively famous family, you know, who were involved in a O.J. Simpson court case. And then, you know, a mum who decided to put everything in place to have a sex tape for her daughter. And then her daughter's built up this massive Kardashian brand and a reality TV show. And then you were born and you were already born into fame. And then there's no barrier to entry in anything you do. So I want to make a fashion brand. I want to make a lipstick kit or something like that, or a makeup kit. Yeah, sure, we'll meet tomorrow. You know, for the rest of us, I want to make a clothing brand. Yeah, all right, well, it's going to cost you $5,000 to start. I don't have that. Okay, I'm going to have to do a factory job for a year and save that money. You know, but then some other bills popped up. Shit, I have to pay for my car, that crap. You know, you're already like 2-3 years behind before you can even get the money to do it. And then somebody else does it in the meantime. Or you execute on the idea, but here's what Kylie Jenner can do. Okay, I'm going to put my lipstick brand out there so people can see it. Marketing. Well, I've already got a 20-30 million person audience. I'll market it to them. Oh, it makes money right off the bat because people trust her, they know the family, they already watch her on TV, and she's had all that surgery, so she can fake all the lip stuff. And then she starts making millions, and everyone says, female entrepreneur, superstar, 21-year-old superstar entrepreneur, so smart, she's put the grind in. There's some 5 a.m. starts, but it's not the same. Because for the rest of us, like I said, just getting off the ground, just getting that money to start would be tough. Just meeting with the top level people who could design your fashion brand or your, whatever it is you're doing. If you're a woman, you were doing makeup or something, you just wouldn't be able to do the same as what she's doing, because that person probably wouldn't even respond to you. They wouldn't even call you back because they'd be like, we don't want to collaborate with you. Who are you? You're not going to get into the biggest stores because you don't have a name. And then when you market it, it might take you 15 years to build up an audience of 20, 30 million people. She already has that because her family's famous and they've put her on TV. So you see what I mean? There's a lot of puzzle pieces that are already in place for someone like her. Someone like Justin Bieber, we weren't born with that voice. If I was born with a voice like Justin Bieber's, I think I'd be 10 times more famous, because I would literally just make songs repeatedly, every single day. And I would just hit them at the ballpark like nobody's ever seen. And I would just obsess over it. And I'd probably try and make 10 songs per week and try and hit number one with each of them. I don't think he's got that ferocious mindset. But we just don't have that talent. So we have to find a different route. And like I said, for somebody like us guys, our lives might start getting going at like 32 years old. And it's like, oh God, you became a millionaire 15 years later than Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm sure those guys are going to have great lives post-career, but there's going to be a lot of sports stars that peaked young. Now, people don't really care about them. They've lost most of their money. Now, I remember a guy called David Bentley who was smacking in hat tricks in the Premier League. They called him the next David Beckham. At 21 years old, the world was at his feet. He got sick of football, made some okay investments. He now runs a bar abroad somewhere in Spain. Runs that every year. People come out, they visit him, a couple of pictures with him because he used to be kind of famous. Got a couple of properties in his name, but it's not, his life's never going to be as good as it was when he was playing for England. And I think he played for England and scored a couple of goals. And you think it's never going to be at that level again. Whereas for a lot of us, our talents lie in something like entrepreneurship, or you might become the CEO of the company that you're at. So by 55, you're at your peak earning years. Celebrities, athletes, their peak earning years might be from 18 to 28. That's your lowest. Your peak earning years are from 48 to 58, and you get your peak then. So never feel like you're behind, guys. Never compare yourself with sports stars, athletes, famous people. Even somebody like a YouTuber, it's completely different. They're making their money a different way to you. You really, I think KSI is a great guy. I can't believe he won that boxing fight. I think his style's awful. I don't think he's an athlete. But what he's got is heart, determination. He's got grit. He's got discipline. When he focuses his mind on something, he's great. Do you really think his audience, who probably on average I'd say are 12 years old, maybe 14 years old, do you really think they're going to stick with him when he's 32 years old, 38 years old? They're not, and that's not a diss, because he knows that too. That's why he doesn't do FIFA videos anymore. That's why he does boxing matches. That's why he does other stuff, because he knows that his audience aren't going to follow him when they're having kids, when they're getting mortgages, etc. And the new kids are just going to find, the new youngsters are just going to find the next hot YouTuber. Oh, Mr. Beast. And then when Mr. Beast is older, is he still going to do the same content? Are the people still going to watch it? No, there's going to be a new Mr. Beast. There's going to be somebody different. So the best YouTubers, the best of these people, they'll evolve. They'll do something new. They'll do what Drake's done and change his music up 7-8 times, his style 7-8 times, just to evolve with the times and stay relevant. But the majority of even these YouTubers that are famous now, making hundreds of thousands, if not millions per year, they're going to be a flash in the pan. Another decade, they might not even exist. And people are like, oh, do you remember that person? They're all washed up now. Reality TV stars, at one point the most famous people on the planet. Now they're just living normal lives with normal houses, just trying to get by and worrying where the next penny's going to come from, and doing £15 shout outs where they just film themselves on the phone and say happy birthday, and they get paid 15 quid, and they maybe do something like 10 or 15 of them a day just to keep themselves going and make enough money just to stay alive. And it's sad, because at one point they were up here and then it does that. And that's why you can't base your life on, why am I not at his level yet? Why am I not at their level yet? And if you do that, you're gonna seriously affect your level of success, because for the average person, especially men, the whole game is patience. The entire game is patience. It's the long game. We build up with the compound effect over time like that. And the person that you idolized when you were young, the famous person, the sports star, whatever, it's entirely likely, and I would say highly likely, that as long as they're not like a Ronaldo or a LeBron James that has like $1 billion in the bank, it's very likely that if you were to work hard on your own business or something and use the compound effect, it's massively possible that you're going to be richer than them in 20 or 30 years if you did it for the long run. You know, because a lot of them get into that sport or that industry and that's all they know. Reality TV, that's all they know. They know how to get drunk and sleep with people because they're attractive. A sports star, they know how to run fast, they know how to score goals, they know how to dunk. Once all that's over, they're like, what do I do next? Whereas for the average person, ours is the long game. So never compare yourself, guys, especially in a timeline sense. And never say this person's 21, I'm 21. They've earned 50 to 100 million already. What am I doing in my life? I'm so far behind. Because it just doesn't work like that for the average person. You know, there's certain industries that they're built to catapult people young. But for the average person, everything's the long game.